Hey! It's Ryan, it's Sunday, and I thought I watched the Flash Arrow crossover earlier on, and I was like, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a recap video, a series of recap videos on the TV shows that I've watched pre the end of 2014 in preparation for the second half of those seasons coming back. So I'm going to start with arguably the most popular, Arrow. Um, if you haven't watched the first half of season 3, or if you haven't even watched season 1 or 2 of Arrow, I'm gonna spoil this. I'm gonna spoil this like a motherfucker. So if you haven't seen those, I watch them first. If you have no interest in Arrow, I don't know what you've watched, what you've clicked on this. Thanks though for the view. It means a lot. I hope I'm somewhat entertaining, and stick around. But yeah, so Arrow season 3. It's okay. By the start of season 3, Team Arrow is a well-oiled machine. Felicity is still doing her technological wonders and looking just the best, just looking excellent. Diggle is becoming a father, and Oliver Queen's trying to work him out of the team on account of that. The character of Roy Harper, who was always just sort of there, really, has been upgraded to fully fledged sidekick partner in the form of Arsenal. Not Red Arrow, not Speedy. He's red garbed. He's Arsenal. They come up with a name for that a couple of episodes in, but hey, by the start of the episode, he's there and he's taking names, kicking ass, telling people they feel the city, and so on and so forth. Yeah, general archery stuff. Okay, but the first episode ends on a shocker of Game of Thrones proportions. Black Canary comes back. The first Black Canary, played by Sarah Lance. Well, the character is Sarah Lance, portraying her, and she is shot multiple times with arrows and flung off a rooftop by a mysterious assailant. That in series leads to the overarching story of this first half, which is who killed I keep calling him Mockingbird because it's so weird, man. It's so weird. That was my phone. That's what that was. There's a character called Mockingbird in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., a Marvel character, and Black Canary over in Arrow looks more like Marvel's Mockingbird than Marvel's Mockingbird. So if you hear me get the names mixed up, that's why. Alas. So this has ramifications. The hunt then becomes who killed her. It drives Laurel to pick up crime fighting herself. She begins training in self-defense and things because she's been hurt. And she's like, I ain't gonna be no Mary Jane. She doesn't say that, but we all know what a Mary Jane is at this point. I'm not Mary Jane, but you know we've seen Raimi's Spider-Man's. It's a wonder Kristen Stewart kept coming back because she was just not really underserved. Anyway, so that happens. Yeah, like I said, it becomes a hunt for the killer. The League of Shadows get involved again. Nisa Al Ghul comes back and says, "Look, what's happened? You got to find this killer, or we will." They back off and let Oliver Queen try and find it. They encounter a number of different enemies, one of which being Captain Boomerang, who actually turns out to the first time you see him, he's got the worst Australian accent you've ever heard. Then they ditch that, and he shows up again as part of the Flash Arrow crossover. Arrow team go to Central City, meet up with Flash, help stop a supervillain called Prism. There's a really cool sort of training montage. No, I'm joking. There's not a montage, but they do go out to a barn and train with arrows and speed and things, and teaches Barry about detective work and so on. And yeah, that's pretty cool. We get to see more of the Atom, Ray Palmer. He comes in, takes over Queen Consolidated right at the start, which means Oliver doesn't have to act like a billionaire playboy anymore because he's not a billionaire playboy anymore. And then the other theme of this, the first half, is that he's sort of losing his identity a bit. He's losing his identity as Oliver Queen. Not that his alter ego as the Arrow has been made public, but more to do with the fact that the more he devotes his time to being the Arrow, the less he feels like a fully functioning human being. Something that's always been alluded to in Batman comics. You know, his sanity's always been called into question, and it's not so much that, but it's more. I feel he's going through this phase where he's like, I feel less human. I'm giving my all to this, and I don't know who I am anymore. Particularly after Sarah's death, and the whole team's just rocked by that. Laurel decided to keep it a secret from her detective father, which is, strange, but there we go. The character, a DC character, Wildcat, is in it as a former vigilante who now runs a gym. Don't expect to see too much of him. He just shows up for an episode or two and teaches Laurel how to throw a punch. There's that. But, and this is the creme de la creme, my friends, okay? Captain Boomerang, pretty awesome. If you've read Ostrander's Suicide Squad, you know that. Somebody has this is the rule of comics, right? You will find somebody with a dopey name, and the right writer will make him excellent. This has always happened. This will continue to happen, okay? Like, one of my favorite books is by Jonathan Hickman. It's called, the actual title is Ultimate Comics, The Ultimates. Stupid title, excellent book, okay? So the dopier and wackier it sounds, the better it comes. And once he ditches the full Australian accent, he's pretty cool. He's like, look, I don't use guns, I don't use knives, I use these things, and it works. And you just see him mow through motherfuckers with these things, and it's awesome. However, he does throw in the odd boomerang pun, like, it'll come back to haunt you. Why? Anyway, boomerangs. But by the mid-season finale, time has run out. The League of Shadows are tired of figuring out who the villain was, or who the killer was. Ra's al Ghul himself, who was only glimpsed at the end of episode 4, I believe, played by Matt Nable, who is somebody I really want to check up on now. He reemerges, and this is, I heard they tried to get Liam Neeson for Ra's al Ghul again for Arrow, but he couldn't do it due to other commitments. More than likely. This guy kills it. Oh, here, I'm jumping around again, but I do that. I just ramble on, because, Lord, I'm a rambling man. John Barrowman comes back. And it's he's Malcolm Merlyn again. He's got this villainy that he's just you can tell he's just keeping all the camp inside. He's just he's a great villain. He almost wants to be a cartoon supervillain. He's just chewing that. Boy, he chews that scenery, man. There's bite marks in the scenery every time he comes on. He's been training Thea Merlin, his illegitimate love child, also Oliver Queen's sister from season 1 and 2. He's been training her in self-defense and stuff, and toughening her up. They went to Court of Maltese, which any readers of Dark Knight Returns will recognize. So there's that. That was cool. There was a whole episode set there. Good, lots of... Arrow frustrates me so much, because they won't refer to Superman, or Metropolis, or Batman, or Gotham, but it's clearly the same. It's like if they can't say those 4 words, they'll say everything else. So you've got Court of Maltese, you've got Ra's al Ghul. There's a Harley Quinn cameo in season 2, for fuck's sake. But anyway, that's by the by. Ra's al Ghul and the League of Shadows confront Oliver and say, listen, time's up. You haven't found the killer. Spoilers, Malcolm Merlyn used Thea Merlin Queen to assassinate Sarah Lance, so that either Thea or Oliver would take the fall or try and kill Ra's al Ghul, thus eliminating any manhunts or grudges that Raz had during his reign. Therefore vindicating Malcolm Merlyn and so forth, right? There was an elaborate plan, kind of came to a nice head. Now, Matt Nable, he does speak with an Australian accent, a pitch-perfect one. Ra's al Ghul does not. He's a little bit younger. He's got short cropped hair and sort of kind of roughly unshaven, not quite the nice goatee that we're used to seeing from Raz. But this is one of the best incarnations of Ra's al Ghul you'll ever see. He just boy, man, he's got such screen presence. You're just, it's magnetic. Every time this man's on screen, you're like, okay, this, I could believe this. I could believe this is some immortal warlord who's running this tight ninja organization. Excellent. He said Oliver challenges him to a duel to say, look, if I defeat you and I kill you, that's it. Game over. Okay, you leave my city alone. You leave my sister alone. You leave me alone. End of story. All comes to a head on a summit on a mountain. They strip their shirts off. They choose their weapons. Oliver Queen takes 2 swords. Raz doesn't take any. There's a cool moment where he's like, "You've got no swords." He's like, "I'll take them from you when you're done with them." Boy, etc. I butchered it, but that's me. I can't act. And you just see Oliver Queen, the star of this show that we've been following for 3 years. Badass motherfucker. You filled this city and all that. You know, we're behind him. He's our guy. You know, you can't stop that guy. He's completely out of his element. Ra's al Ghul toys with him. You know, with no weapons, he's defeating this guy. And then breaks his trachea, stabs him, tosses him off a cliff. Credits. Oliver Queen is dead. Now, I didn't touch on the flashbacks because they aren't really important. I mean, okay, I'll go over them quickly. Oliver Queen wakes up in Hong Kong. Amanda Waller is training him for something. Teaching him how to interrogate people. He's living with the DC character Katana. Before she was Katana. Her family and stuff. He ends up... Her husband joins the League of Shadows. That happens. Yeah, that's it. Again, I was sort of underwhelmed by the flashbacks. But the main story, the overarching story, Sarah's death, where's Thea, what's happening with Merlin, holy shit, there's Ra's al Ghul. Yes, top notch. What's happening in the second part? Well, presumably there's going to be a Lazarus Pit. We know Slade Wilson, Deathstroke, is coming back. We know the Suicide Squad are coming back. Vinnie Jones is going to be in it for 3 episodes, because. So that'll be interesting, he said tentatively. And, yeah, there's that. That was my little recap, as good as it was, on the first half of Season 3 of Arrow. Next half comes back next month, so you could just watch them all, watch Season 3 from the start, and that'd be a better way of recapping it. But hey, if you're one of my subscribers, you get this. 13 minutes of your time. I'll probably do one on The Flash at some point soon, or Constantine, or Gotham, or The Walking Dead. It'll be Flash or Constantine before it's Gotham or Walking Dead. I'm going to be honest with you. I didn't care too much for those last shows. But that's a story for another time. If you like this, please like, subscribe, share, view, and all the usual jazz. Cheerio, bye.